trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's see who all is in here. All right, Bronx Flat Power God, Pearly, Queen Sam, Desmond. All right, Alice, I see you, beloved. Let's get ready to get into it. Reggie, DJ Big Six, Vince, I am from the UK. Volvo is here. Infinite Vibe. All right. Paul Parody is here. Okay, let's get into it. That Crazy Beach Aries, Laverne. All right, Cherokee Descendant Dale, Trisha. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. Y'all know I love me some you. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start off with a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. All right, so let's just get right into it. Let's get right into it. I have heard some crazy news about Trump, but of course it doesn't surprise me because Trump is crazy as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so now before we get into this invasion, let's talk about the new leader that Iran has chosen. Okay, I'm going to go to this report by Sky News Australia. Iranian Supreme Leader Mashtaba Hamini injured in an airstrike. Okay, so this is something new. This came out 4 hours ago. Now, this is their new leader, but it's saying that he's been injured in an airstrike. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Thank you very much for watching. There is some potential breaking news which we are trying to verify through other reports here that apparently the brand new leader of Iran may well have been injured in a attack. Now, let me just read directly here. There are international sources we're double checking here. The Daily Telegraph is reporting as we speak on their website that Iran's newly appointed supreme leader has been injured in strikes, according to Iranian state media. That he apparently had been wounded in what they are referring to as the Ramadan War. He's described as an injured war veteran right now. Israeli security officials believe that he was wounded but still alive after targeting in an airstrike. This is according to the reporting that is on the Times of Israel website. So that is a report. We will try to stand it up and give you more information about it before we go off the air, but no doubt more in a moment, of course, in the late debate. Now featuring our mate, Danica DiGiorgio. Congratulations and welcome to Primetime to Danica.
Okay, so that's certainly not good news for Iran. And let me just say something. At the end of the day, maybe they shouldn't have announced who the new leader is while this war is raging on. Just a thought. Okay, maybe they should not have announced who the leader is. And it's the son of the previous supreme leader. Now let's go to Fox News's report. The only thing Fox News is good for is telling us what Trump said. Other than that, all lies and BS as far as I'm concerned. But they say that Trump issued a chilling warning to Iran's new Ayatollah. Okay, so let's go to this. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you.
So right now, growing questions about the future of Iran as the terror regime names the Ayatollah's son as its new supreme leader. He's a hardline cleric, widely considered more radical than his dad.
President Trump warning, quote, he's going to have to get approval from us. If he doesn't get approval from us, he's not going to last long.
Former ambassador at large and counterterrorism coordinator Nathan Sales served in the State Department.
Let me just pause right there for a moment. Trump said if he doesn't get approval from us, he's not going to last long. Okay, and then we hear that he was possibly injured in an airstrike. All right, so please pay attention. That's why they absolutely should not have said who the leader was, just in my opinion.
President Trump's first term, and he joins us now. Nathan, thanks so much for joining the program. So we had a lot of experts on, and they've been across, other networks as well. And many of the people following this didn't think that they were going to choose the son. They got it wrong. Why do you think?
Well, I think the Iranian regime is doubling down on its failed strategy of trying to defy and wage war on the United States and the West. This is an establishment choice. He may not have been
Now listen to what he said. I want you to pay attention because he just said they're trying to double down on waging war against the United States and the West. I'm sorry. How are they just completely ignoring the fact that war was waged on them? Okay? I want you to pay attention to how they try to slide little stuff like that in because they know that most of the people who listen to Fox News are MAGA. So they keep saying these same things over and over, repeating the same rhetoric, and so that it sinks in. Okay, these people are brainwashed, and this is how they do it.
consensus frontrunner, but picking the son of the old leader signals continuity. And it's very much a meet the new boss, same as the old boss type situation. One other thing to emphasize about this new guy, he has very strong ties to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the sort of shock troops of the Iranian regime and its exporter of revolutionary ideology around the region. Of course, that's just formalizing what has always been the case. The IRGC has long been the power behind the throne when it comes to the Iranian regime. So this just sort of brings that role out of the shadows and into the spotlight.
I know you've talked about the three goals, which is the nuclear weapons, make sure they don't have nuclear weapons, the ballistic missile threat, and the terror proxies. This is what the New York Times is saying about about Iran being able to retrieve their uranium. They say American intelligence agencies have determined that Iran or potentially another group could retrieve Iran's primary store of highly enriched uranium, even though it was entombed under the country's nuclear site at Isfahan by U.S. strikes last year. Officials familiar with the intelligence said that Iran can now get to the uranium through a very narrow access point. What's your reaction to that? We don't want them to have access to this.
Well, it sounds like the military just added another target to the list. The Iranians are going to keep trying at this. The reason why this war started is because of their determination to preserve a pathway to a bomb. So it shouldn't surprise us at all that they're going to do what they can to recover access to their highly enriched uranium. But we have a play here as well, and that is the same play that we made last June when we targeted the nuclear weapons program. We can drop a couple of bombs on that target, I imagine, and make it pretty difficult to excavate that uranium.
Well, that would certainly help. So Ali Larijani says, we're going to relentlessly avenge the blood of our leader and our people, meaning the Ayatollah. Trump must pay and will pay. Trump came back and says, I have no idea who this guy is who they're talking about. What is your take on the bravado we're still getting from them, even though they've been devastated? We're moving past Tehran now into the heartland, targeting the IRGC in all 31 provinces.
Well, I think part of this is for a domestic audience. I think the regime is afraid for its life, and it's trying to signal to Iranian citizens that they're still in charge and they're still in control. I don't think the Iranian people believe it. You know, we saw hundreds of thousands of people out in the street last January, in response to which tens of thousands were murdered by regime goons. So I think this is partly a play for the regime to convince a very doubtful Iranian public that they're still calling the shots.
Wow. Nathan Sales, thanks so much.
Thank you, Nathan.
They are still calling the shots. They are still calling the shots, and if they aren't, who is? But I know who's calling the shots for the United States, and their name isn't Trump. Their name is BB. Okay, that's who's calling the shots. Now, please pay attention. We're going to get into that momentarily. Let's go to this clip where it says, this is from MS Now. This report just came in hours ago. It says MAGA civil war over Trump's Iran strikes. Because, you know, half of MAGA is against Trump. They've turned on him. And then he still, of course, has his loyal minion base.
Absolute whirlwind of breaking news this evening, and it's showing no sign of letting up anytime soon. Just tonight, Iranian state media announced the son of the late Ayatollah Khamenei has been named as the country's new supreme leader. This comes as U.S. Central Command confirmed 2 more U.S. service members' deaths overseas. The Department of Defense just identified one of them as Major Sorfly Davies from Queens, New York. He died Friday in Kuwait as the result of a non-combat related incident, which is being investigated. Major Davies also served with both the New York Police and Fire Department. That news comes one day after President Trump attended the dignified transfer for the first 6 fallen troops at Dover Air Force Base. ABC News asked him today whether witnessing that solemn event gave him pause. Trump replied in part, quote, not at all. The parent said to me, please win this for my child. This comes as major cracks are starting to form in the Republican Party over the war. A recent NBC News poll found 77% of Republicans are overall supportive of Trump's strikes on Iran. That's a far cry from the universal support Trump has enjoyed in the party for years. That split is just as visible within right-wing media. Many top voices who backed Trump in 2024 are now coming out against the war. Watch.
This is Israel's war. This is not the United States' war.
Bibi's not dumb. He would know how to talk Trump into it, which is clearly what he did.
The only reason it looks like we're in there is just because Israel needs it.
Yeah.
Right? And then naturally, Americans are furious about it.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Joining us now is former New York Congressman Max Rose. He's an Afghanistan war veteran and a senior advisor for vote.
Hold on. I see someone talking trash about me in the comments, so I'm going to go in on them real quick. This I am from the UK is low down, talking about greetings at Christy, love Christy, and at Deronda Brown. Late as usual, just like the Queen, allegedly. Vince, how dare you go in on me about being late? So nefarious. But let's continue.
And Peter Beinart, MS Now political analyst and author of the Beinart Notebook on Substack. So, Max, going to start with you here. Is this a real split, given that Donald Trump campaigned on no new wars, America first? It was a big deal to his base. Is this going to actually splinter his base of support?
It's splintering it right now because Donald Trump very clearly lied to his voters, just like he lied to them that he was going to do something about the affordability crisis. What's shocking, though, is when we compare this to the war in Iraq 2 decades ago, where George Bush and the Republican Party maintained a powerful political base for several years. Of course, they went on to win the midterms in 2004, and he won re-election. But of course, then they only had one consistent lie for going to war. Now, just in a matter of 2 weeks, Trump and his cronies have like 5 different lies for why. The 10. First, it was the ballistic missiles program. Then it was the nuclear program that suddenly came back. Then it was the terrorism. Then it was the fact that Israel was going to do it with or without them. Then it was the fact that we don't just need world peace for ourselves, but also our grandchildren, and we have to bomb our way out of it. Then it was the fact that we need to provide the Iranian people with democracy, and the only way to do that is by carpet bombing them. Over lie after lie after lie, and it is clear even to the MAGA base.
I mean, I think it's pretty telling in the clip that you just played there, Elise, from Megyn there on her podcast, I think it was. I mean, she's talking to Eric Prince. Eric Prince?
I think Eric Prince is just jealous, though, because he hasn't been contracted yet.
Well, maybe that is it. But if you have Eric Prince saying that your war is a bad idea, I don't know.
Yeah, and Bolton.
I mean,
I mean, they're caught in this weird position, right? Because they're trying to attack the war without attacking Trump himself. And so what you see Megyn Kelly is saying is basically Trump is so stupid that Israel was able, or Netanyahu was able to talk him into the war. But it doesn't make any sense, right? It's Israel's war, and it's also America's war, right? Because Donald Trump decided to bring America into war, and he decided to allow Israel to attack Iran, because America could have stopped Israel if we wanted to, right? And so I think ultimately it's untenable for them to try to walk this line where they oppose the war without holding Trump responsible for the war.
Max, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was asked earlier on Meet the Press whether he will vote to block additional funding for the war. Let's listen to that.
As the leader of House Democrats, do you plan to block all Pentagon funding, even if the argument is it is critical for military readiness?
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it in terms of if the administration makes a request to Congress to consider additional funding.
What do you think Democrats should be doing here?
They should actually be able to separate this into 2 separate points. One, which I think we all would agree on, that when it comes to service members currently stationed in the Middle East, we should not leave them high and dry to fend for themselves with just their boots and their bottle of, their canteen of water. No one believes that. But you need to de-link that. They need to force this to be de-linked from the larger question of continued appropriations for an ongoing
right, sorry about that, beloveds. I was having a technical issue. Okay, so listen, let's go to this report by the Young Turks where they talk about it's been revealed that Israel and Saudi Arabia pushed Trump into this war. Okay? Now, as I told you all, I think that Bibi has some things on Trump used to whitemail him. Okay? That's my opinion. Now, I'm going to put an overlay on this. Oh, well, there's already an overlay. Okay, so let's listen to this. It's about a 4-minute clip.
We heard that Saudi Arabia did not want to get involved. They didn't want to get dragged into this. So Saudi Arabia said, United States, we are not going to allow you to use your military bases in our country to strike Iran. We just don't want to get dragged into it, okay? Well, the Saudi crown prince is also a terrorist, also a liar, a butcher, if you will. And so the Washington Post had reported on February 28th that push from Saudis, Israel helped move Trump to attack Iran. US intelligence assessments saw no imminent threat, but regional allies argued now was the time to strike. And strike we did. And I don't think Trump is going to be happy with the decision he made. If not now, pretty soon he's going to realize what a huge disaster this was, a massive risk that will define his legacy. It turns out that Israel and Saudi Arabia had been engaging in a weeks-long campaign to urge the United States to strike Iran. So Saudi Arabia is very much part of this. According to 4 people familiar with the matter who spoke to the Washington Post, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman made multiple private phone calls to Trump over the past month, advocating a US attack despite his public support for a diplomatic solution. The attack came despite US intelligence assessments that Iran's forces were likely to pose an imminent threat to the US mainland within the next decade. So not within a few weeks, not within a few days, 10 years. We're talking about 10 freaking years. Okay. Last November, Democratic Senators Elizabeth Warren and Chris Murphy actually called out the Witkoffs, meaning Steve Witkoff and his son, over their conflicts of interest in the Persian Gulf as he continued engaging in negotiations and peace talks. So Witkoff partnered with Trump's family back in 2024 to launch World Liberty Financial, a cryptocurrency company. A lot of dark money, a lot of hidden bribery can take place with crypto, can it? A few months later, Witkoff became Trump's special envoy to the Middle East and for peace missions. And since Trump's reelection, Zach Witkoff, that's Steve Witkoff's son, has used cryptocurrency conferences in Dubai and Abu Dhabi as venues to raise billions of dollars from government-linked investors in the UAE and elsewhere, possibly Saudi Arabia, for World Liberty Financial, the Trump Witkoff cryptocurrency company. These people are leeches. They are the worst among us. They have sold the country out just so they can make a buck. They are just the absolute most disgusting and evil human beings imaginable. And I know I'm using strong language. It's very, very harsh. But they are happy. I want to be clear, happy to sacrifice the lives of American soldiers so they can get dog walked by basically by those who pay them to humiliate themselves on the world stage for a little bit of profit. Steve Witkoff is a joke. Jared Kushner, in my opinion, is the new Epstein. Certainly when it comes to the background wheeling and dealing that takes place, the shadow government that actually rules us all, that's what's happening. We don't live under a democracy. We don't live under a democratic republic, none of that, okay? There is a shadow government. They're the ones who pull the strings. You're seeing it happen in real time. And look, the one thing I'll give the Trump administration some credit for, they're so unsophisticated that they can't help but just be brazen about what they're doing. So we all know what's going on now. In previous administrations, there was speculation, but now it's abundantly clear. The office of the presidency has been bastardized into an office that serves individuals who seek to enrich themselves, even if it means embarrassing themselves and selling out the American people.
That's absolutely a fact. Okay, that's absolutely a fact. And I want you all to pay attention because she said the shadow government. I just told you all about that the other day. Okay, I was just telling you all about the whole shadow government that we have the other day. And don't forget to watch that show While the Rest of Us Die on Netflix. I mean, on Tubi. So, because they tell you all about it. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this report by MS Now that came out about 4 or 5 hours ago, where they're talking about, they're talking to Lion R's Christine or Caroline Levitt. Okay, and likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Reports from U.S. officials that Russia is providing intelligence to Iran to help it target U.S. assets in the region. I'm sure this is something that does not please the president whatsoever. Has he spoken to Putin about it?
Well, look, I'll leave that to the president to answer himself. But what I will tell you, John, we don't comment on intelligence reports that are leaked to the press. Whether or not this happened, frankly, it does not really matter because President Trump and the United States military are absolutely decimating the rogue Iranian terrorist regime.
Now, I want you all to pay attention to the lies that she's sitting here spewing. First of all, if they were absolutely decimating the rogue Iranian regime, well, how come the war isn't over, ma'am? Okay, they keep talking about they're doing this, that, and the third. I told you all this yesterday. But also notice that she said it doesn't even matter. How the hell does it not matter if the Russians are giving intel to Iran so that they know where the U.S. military is? So they know where and when to target them. How does that not matter? You see how stupid she sounds? These are the lies they continue to tell. I don't know how anyone could be foolish enough to believe a single thing that comes out of the mouths of anyone in that entire administration. But let's continue listening to the bullshit because after this, I want to go to the footage of Pete Hegseth just making, just throwing shade at Marco Rubio, who is nothing more than a Cuban raccoon. He has just thrown his people under the bus. He doesn't care that Trump's talking about targeting Cuba next. He doesn't care about how he's starving those people out over there by denying them access to oil. He's doing everything he can to kiss Trump's butt, licking his boots. It is so disgusting. He even had to ask Trump's permission to speak in his own native tongue. Okay, absolutely egregious. But we're going to get into that right after this.
Well, it does really matter, and this does matter, and it matters to people in the United States of America. The White House, though, that was the line throughout the weekend. Even the president saying on Air Force One, well, basically, it doesn't matter. We do it to them, too. No, it doesn't work that way. When you go to war and you have Russia helping your enemy in that war target Americans.
Welcome to Klondike Adventures game. I promise it's the best one you've ever seen.
Kill Americans, that matters. And this comes the same, this reporting came the same day that for some reason this White House decided to loosen sanctions on Russia. And it came the same week that the Ukrainians who were actually helping us in this war, not targeting us, so just so people in the White House can understand why this matters, the Russians are helping the Iranians target Americans. That's on one side. On the other side, the Ukrainians are helping Americans with what they've learned, intercepting Iranian-made drones that were sent to their front line. So the Ukrainians are helping us in this war. Russia is trying to kill American troops. It matters. And Mika, the fact that this is still going on 10 years later, the fact that you still have these bizarre statements about Vladimir Putin targeting and trying to kill Americans, saying that doesn't matter.
But like I told you all, they're going to say it doesn't matter. But like I told you all, who do you think Putin got some of his intel from? I guarantee you, it is my opinion that he got some of that information from Trump. Okay, Trump has been all up Putin's butt, and we all know it. Cyrus, beloved, thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now let's go to Marco Rubio as he sits here with his lips glued to Trump's butt cheeks. Okay, let's get into it. Absolutely nefarious.
Thank you for your bold leadership. It's an honor to be able to serve in your administration. And Mr. President, 2 points I want to make. The first is we have a lot of allies around the world, and we are grateful for our allies. And the countries represented here today, all 12 of the leaders here are allies, but they're more than allies. They're friends. At a time when we have learned that oftentimes an ally, when you need them, maybe may not be there for you. These are countries that have been there for us, and these are leaders that are not just allies, they are friends, and they are always willing to work and cooperate with the United States, and we're grateful for them. And as you said, Mr. President, these are also countries with extraordinary potential. Some are fulfilling it, some are well on their way to fulfilling it, and this is important. We want to be a partner with you in that. We want the world to see that when you are a friend and an ally of the United States, it is a good thing. It's reciprocated. It comes back the other way as well. And so the fact the president is here today and making this a priority is so critical. If I may, because some of these cameras cover in Spanish. You all right? If oh, good. Please. We don't need an interpreter for this one. Quiero darle las gracias. I think I'm a good interpreter. You'll find out in a second. But las gracias a los países que están aquí hoy. Estos países, primero, el presidente ha hecho esta región una prioridad en su administración. Hay muchos presidentes que han dicho que lo van a hacer, pero él lo ha hecho y se lo agradecemos. Y muy agradecido a los 12 países que están aquí hoy. Estos son países que no solamente son aliados, son amigos. Son países que siempre responden cuando hay una necesidad y trabajan en conjunto con nosotros y queda mucho por hacer. Estos son países que tienen una gran población, mucho potencial y queremos ser sus socios en desarrollar a sus países, sus economías y su seguridad. Y le doy las gracias de verdad por estar aquí en el día de hoy con nosotros. Que Dios bendiga a todos sus países, a los Estados Unidos y gracias como Mr. Thank you for your bold leadership. It's an honor to be able to serve in you.
Absolutely cannot. I mean, he had to ask Trump. Claudette said Trump looks lost and confused. He had to ask Trump's permission to speak in his own native tongue. This is absolutely nefarious. Now, let's go to this video of him getting dragged for doing so. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
As a reminder from Marco Rubio. Watch this.
If I may, because some of these cameras cover in Spanish. You all right? Oh, good. Please. We don't need an interpreter for this one. Quiero darle las gracias.
You may have a seat at the table, but you will never be seen as anything other than a lapdog. A lapdog that has to ask permission to speak his native tongue. I would never. Remind you that they're addressing a room of primarily Spanish speakers, yet he still has to ask permission. And immediately after, what does Donald Trump say?
Is he better in Spanish or in English? I think he's better in Spanish. I mean, he's great.
He questions whether his Spanish or his English is better. And he says, oh, his Spanish is probably better, which is further proof that he does not see him as an American citizen. The cherry on top of this whole fiasco is Pete Hegseth.
Mr. President, I only speak American.
I only speak American. He didn't say English. He said American, which again further solidifies the idea that they do not view Marco Rubio as an American. He's useful for them for the Latin vote. Y'all remember that? I will vote for Donald Trump. Yeah, they got the vote from the Latin community, and now they don't give a shit. Those same people are getting deported by Marco Rubio. The jokes write themselves, bro. Let this serve as a reminder for Marco Rubio.
Y'all see that? I am so done. Vince I.M. said it sounds like he's speaking in code allegedly, okay? So with that all being said, just pay attention to how he said, I only speak American, bringing attention to the fact that he's not an American. No matter how much you kiss Trump's butt, no matter how many times you lick his boots, no matter how many times you spew his racist rhetoric for him and agree with him and all of that, you're still not white, okay? Your skin may be light, but you're not viewed as one of them. He just doesn't seem to get it. All right? Hegseth doesn't like him. None of them do. They're just using him like the guy said in that video. Making a whole fool out of him, talking about I only speak American. That's how you know that was a dig, just to let him know you're not any American. Okay, because why didn't he just say English? All right, so it's the shade of it all. And he's sitting there looking so stupid. They don't care anything about him. He's thrown his own people under the bus for absolutely nothing. All right? Now let's go to this next video of someone dragging him for the same reason. That all being said, Nubia says Hegseth has ethnicity in Poland. He's not American. Honey, none of them are American. Okay, none of them are American. They're all Europeans. None of them are actually Americans. That's what is so crazy. That they're always trying to talk trash to other people, calling other people immigrants when they're immigrants. None of them are actual Americans. If that's how they're looking at it, they all came from somewhere else. Period. None of them were originally here. They're all immigrants. Point blank and period. That's why it's just crazy that they try to go in on other people.
I was reminded by Pete Hegseth. Once again, no matter how much you cape for whiteness, you will never be white. And this is the funny thing about Latinos for Trump, because they equate white skin or light skin to being white in America. And for white people in America, it doesn't work like that.
Spanish. You're right. Oh, good. We don't need an interpreter for this one. Quiero darle las gracias. I think I'm a good interpreter. You'll find out in a second. But
you see how excited he was to show off his Spanish? Like he's adding something culturally to the table and almost saying like, you know, look, we can do two things at the same time. And this is the response he got from Pete Hegseth.
Mr. President, I only speak American.
That's that good old racism I enjoy. Mr. President, I only speak American. Meaning that what he's speaking and who he is not American. That's what that is insinuating. For those of you who can't, you know, connect the dots. Once again, I will vote for Donald Trump. So
exactly. Now let's talk about these nukes that some suspect that Trump and BB are going to try to use. Tactical nukes. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Vince is right. Vince said they're not native to any part of the world. Okay, now listen to this. We just moved the nuke plane over to the Middle East.
I'm making this video to scare you. I'm making this video because you have a right to know. The U.S. military has just moved an E-6B Mercury plane over to the Middle East. What is an E-6B Mercury plane? It is the actual plane that is to send the signal to nuclear submarines whether or not to launch a nuke. I have goosebumps making this video, and this is not to fearmonger. You should be scared. I'm not fearmongering. We just sent our nuclear command and control over to the Middle East to make sure we have the ability to launch a nuke within a couple of minutes. Now, I want you to pause the video here, swipe up on your phone, go to your Safari, your Chrome, whatever I want you to Google this. I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want you to Google it. E-6B Mercury movement. Guys, this is a defining point. And I don't care what you have to say. If it's a tactical threat, it's fucking terrifying. This is not the world I want my kids growing up in. It's not. It's not. Because we have a narcissist in the White House who wants to play with all the buttons and move pieces around on a war board as if it's a game of chess. My name's Kyle Galkin. I'm running for Congress in the 2nd District of Connecticut because I believe in accountability. And hey, listen, as much as my current rep wants to downplay the fact that he's done things that have signaled to the Republican administration that he is on board, right, or that he won't push back, that is the problem. You can't just downplay. You did capitulate. You did things that allowed them to think they could get away with stuff. And now they're doing things that are putting a lot of people's lives at risk.
Okay. He said they may have legislative experience, but no tactical experience. Now, with that all been said, let's go to this video that I shared on X this morning where they're talking about the same thing. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Yes, nice M10K. It is horrifying, beloved. I'm going to use an overlay on this.
I have absolutely no doubt that the United States and or Israel or in a joint operation are going to utilize a tactical nuke. And to paint the picture of that, this isn't the, the days of World War II where you saw the Enola Gay dropping this bomb and flying away. And I mean, nuclear weapons, especially tactical nuclear weapons, have become much more advanced. The problem with that is that because really when you look at it, Israel and the United States are running out of options. We are running out of missiles. When we run out of interceptor missiles and we have no defense, we're going to start losing aircraft carriers. We're going to start losing destroyers. We're going to start losing more service members in the region. All of our bases have been rendered inoperable, but we still have people there that are shuttered, hiding under bunkers. And when there's no more defense, when the THAADs and the Patriots and all systems are down, it is open season, and Iran will have the absolute upper hand in this. And when you consider that, the United States, Israel won't have any options left. It's like going into a gunfight with not enough ammunition, but your opponent still has bullets. Well, now you got to either retreat and run away, or you got to start throwing grenades. So in this gunfight, Trump ain't going to retreat, so we're going to start throwing grenades. And so the only option we have in that is the tactical nuke. And here's what I'll say. Last week, off the coast of California, the United States fired full capable, one of its Minuteman III Doomsday ICBMs, nuclear-equipped intercontinental ballistic missile from California to the Marshall Islands. Fired it, tested it, and made a big deal about it. Simultaneously, this aircraft that you saw that took off recently, that is the 4 Echo Doomsday plane. But what's also another critical component in that aircraft is what really concerns me is the Echo 4 Charlie Night Watch plane. That plane is the command and control component to where if there's nuclear war and if strategic targets are hit, this aircraft through AI with pre-programmed targets can then execute the mission, call it like a dead switch, but it's in a plane. So we not only have this giant nuclear capable 4 Bravo or 4 Echo Doomsday plane, we also have the 4 Charlie Night Watch, which is the complementary command and control aircraft with that bomb-loaded aircraft. So that's what's really concerning. We have not just taken the cover off the old car in the garage. We've filled it up with gas. We've started it up to run. And now that's all that's left is to drive away. And I feel that this administration, especially under the influence of Netanyahu, will utilize a tactical nuclear bomb in the coming days. I fear that greatly, and I think it will happen.
All right, so you all heard that. He said he fears that will happen. At the end of the day, I hope not, but you can never put anything past Trump. He is such an idiot. I also forgot to tell you all, we got to talk about the story about Rihanna. Some woman was arrested, okay, with a gun, and there was a shooting outside of Rihanna's property. So we're going to talk about that also. I almost forgot. Okay, so we'll get into that after we finish talking about this. But hold on, because they say that some of the service members are complaining because they keep trying to paint this as a religious war, a holy war, and talking about how Trump was ordained by God and all of this. So let's go to this report by Democracy Now!
democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. As the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran rages on, U.S. military commanders have reportedly been invoking extremist Christian rhetoric about biblical end times, selling the conflict to American troops as a holy war. The watchdog Military Religious Freedom Foundation says it's been inundated with more than 200 complaints from members across all branches of the U.S. military regarding these comments. One combat unit commander reportedly said the war is part of God's divine plan and that, quote, President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to earth, unquote. For more, we go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where we're joined by Mikey Weinstein, founder and president of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. In this last 5 minutes we have, Mikey, if you can talk about the complaints you've received and who are these commanders who are saying this is a holy war?
Yes, Amy. Our foundation, our main purpose is to protect the wall separating church and state in the technologically most lethal organization ever created by our species, which is the U.S. military. As soon as the war began last Saturday, a week ago, this past Saturday, we started getting inundated by calls from members of the military indicating that supervisors and commanders across the branches, both in the CONUS, which is the continental United States, and internationally, were invoking the fact that this was great news. They were gleeful. They were joyful. They were euphoric because this was a signal that pursuant to the Christian eschatological aspects of the end times in the book of Revelation, that all of this was serving as, if you will, an accelerant or lubricant to bring their version of weaponized Jesus back, which I will also make it clear includes a metric of a 200-mile-long river, 4.5 feet deep, Amy, filled with nothing but the human blood of those that their version of Jesus is slaughtered at the Battle of Armageddon. So we were getting 15, 20, 25 calls a day the first several days we were out there. We finally broke this story with journalist Jonathan Larson, and then it went viral. And so what we are reporting now is that we have over 200 complaints, and that we have from 50 different installations. But it's terrifying when you try to put a theological perspective from Christian extremism with what's happening right now, particularly having listened to your whole show today. I'm reminded of the second inaugural speech by Abraham Lincoln when he chastised both sides in the Civil War for trying to say that God was on their side, which exacerbated the violence, the bloodshed, the injuries, and the death.
Last month, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth invited the controversial Christian nationalist pastor Doug Wilson to lead the Pentagon's prayer service. Wilson's opposed Muslims holding public office and does not believe women should be allowed to vote. Can you talk about Hegseth's tenure as head of the defense, what Trump calls the War Department, and what concerns you most about his conflation of church and state?
I was warned by your producers not to cuss. So I will refer to Hegseth as a piece of feces as opposed to the regular word. He's viewed by senior leadership as a bully and a poser. He is nothing but a Christian nationalist lackey. You forgot to mention, or I'll mention that Doug Wilson also believes that the Civil War was justified biblically. And of course, that a lot of slave owners, he reminds everybody, had a really nice relationship, with their slaves, the same way they did with their living room furniture. He believes that the Jews killed Jesus. Muslims have no right to participate in government. And if you're LGBTQIA+, you probably don't have a right to live. The bottom line is Hegseth has created a template that the only approved member of the U.S. military is to be straight, white, Christian nationalist, and male. So why is anybody surprised that with that template going down in a hierarchical organization, tribal, adversarial, communal, and ritualistic like the U.S. military, that you have subordinate commanders, all of whom are trying to get promoted, that are following the exact same thing? We saw this happen before when the Israeli Defense Forces moved into Gaza and started attacking the Palestinians. We had, in a much smaller way, we had commanders saying, well, this is also sparking the Battle of Armageddon. But whenever you attach an extremist aspect of any religious faith to that machinery, Amy, of the faith responsible for war, we do not end up with little creeks, streams, ponds, or lakes, Amy. We end up with one thing: oceans and oceans of blood, like the color of my shirt.
We have 20 seconds. What risks do service members face for reporting religious comments made by U.S. commanders?
If they do that officially, they become essentially what we call a tarantula on a wedding cake. Amy, you and I have been to lots of weddings. Tarantulas on wedding cakes, that doesn't bode well for the tarantula or the wedding cake.
Mikey Weinstein, founder and president of Military Religious Freedom Foundation.
All right, so you all heard that. Okay, out here trying to promote this whole thing as a holy war, when we all know that Trump's nothing but the devil himself. And another thing that I thought was interesting was the fact that Trump's granddaughter was out, cracking jokes about being bankrupt are having to file bankruptcy. Let's go to that footage. You know, he doesn't have a problem sending other people's kids to war so that they can fight and die. Okay, but he's not going to send any of his, and then his privileged, entitled grandkids out here cracking jokes and all of that. Let's get into it. I'm going to share this clip from Midas Touch. Okay, here we go. Hold on, beloveds. That's her there. Let's get into it.
Secret Service to Erdogan. Donald Trump's granddaughter, Kai Trump, posted a YouTube video on Sunday called "I Brought My Secret Service to Erdogan," which is a very expensive grocery store in Los Angeles. And she talked about how expensive the sushi was and how one bag cost her over $220. And she was mocking people in the United States who have to go bankrupt because there is an affordability crisis. She's like, I'm going to have to go bankrupt. Am I going to file for bankruptcy? Come on, Secret Service. You know, the taxpayers are paying for that Secret Service detail right there. And I guess for the video that she's making as well. I just want to show, I'm just going to show you a short clip so you can see for yourself. I've heard people say, I swear, are they trying to start another French Revolution? You're like, what the hell are they doing? This is a real video from Donald Trump's granddaughter, Kai Trump. Here's what she posted yesterday while a war is raging and while her regime is talking about a draft, while her grandpa's regime is talking about a draft. Play this clip.
All right, guys, so welcome back to the channel. Right now, we are in Erewhon, which is in LA. This is me, the Erewhon video, everything I get from Erewhon. If you guys don't know Erewhon's the most expensive grocery store pretty much out there. Everything's crazy expensive. So we're going to get my favorite stuff, even supplements, whatever it may be. And then we're going to go home and try it out.
Let me know if you guys have any questions on the prices or anything, okay?
How much is sweaters? The Haley Beaver smoothie? Oh my God.
They really laid out the red carpet for you.
Like, I'm gonna go like bankrupt with this stuff. I need to file for bankruptcy. Me and Matt were just talking about peptides. That's why it's funny.
Collagen. Wait, does that mean it's good for you, like your skin?
And again, very short clip here. Here's the big reveal at the end of her video about what it cost after mocking people that she may have to file for bankruptcy right now. Can you believe that's what our taxpayer dollars are going to? Here, play this clip.
The receipt. All of this costs $133
For one grocery bag.
for one grocery bag. And one meal is not even edible. $133 is crazy.
So I'm going to check in for a second with Eric Trump. What was Eric Trump posting about yesterday? This is a real post from Eric Trump. Again, while the Trump regime is not ruling out a war right now, not ruling out a draft for the war, rather, Eric Trump is posting amazing day at the Gator Nationals with some great friends. Gator Nationals at Gainesville Raceway. And he's, you know, I guess with the team, and he's putting up.
Okay, so they're just living lavish and enjoying themselves, honey. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, while people are dying. Also, Trump can try to avoid the Epstein files and continue to do what Bibi has him to do. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, before we continue, let's go ahead and get into this report about Rihanna, because I would like to know what happened myself. Okay, let's talk about it. Like, everyone, please like and share. Now, here is what they report. I'm going to share my screen. Woman arrested for attempted murder after shooting at Rihanna's house. Ivana Lizette Ortiz is being held in custody with bail set at $10.2 million after shots were fired at the singer's house on Sunday. Police have identified the woman arrested in connection with the Sunday shooting at the home of Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. A spokesperson for the Los Angeles Police Department told The Hollywood Reporter that 35-year-old Ivana Lisette Ortiz was booked for attempted murder. Bail has been set for $10,225,000. $10,225,000. Now, news broke Sunday that a woman had fired several shots into the Beverly Hills mansion with a round penetrating a wall of the home. Do y'all hear this? That is so dangerous. And they have children too. Now, the woman reportedly fired the shots from her car, a white Tesla, across the street, and then fled the scene. A call was made to 911 with police responding around 1:21 p.m. Officers followed the suspect to a parking lot in Sherman Oaks, where she was then arrested. According to an LAPD radio dispatch cited by the Los Angeles Times, the woman fired off approximately 10 shots. Now, photos posted online show multiple bullet holes in the front driveway gate of the residence. According to multiple reports, Ortiz used an AR-15 style weapon, but LAPD declined to confirm further details. Can you imagine that someone parked across the street from your residence with a whole AR-15 firing off 10 rounds? Unexpectedly, of course, you're in the house not even knowing anything's going on until you hear gunshots. Now, Rihanna was reportedly at home during the shooting, but it's unclear if A$AP Rocky or the children were present. The couple have three children together. Okay, H3, I don't know how to say that, RZA, y'all know more about Rihanna than I do. Riot Rose H2 and daughter Rocky, who was born in September. Now, the couple are said to live in the Tony Post Office neighborhood of Beverly Hills. No injuries were reported, and authorities have not yet released a motive. Crazy is likely the motive. Do y'all hear this? That is scary. First of all, how does she even know where Rihanna lives? How does she even know where Rihanna lived? Okay, this is all crazy. Wow. Well, I'm glad Rihanna and the kids and A$AP Rocky are all safe. FBA Insight Channel gifted the channel a membership. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. You all be sure to shout out FBA Insight Channel for gifting a membership to the channel. All right. Thank you, beloved. Okay. RZA says dangerous from Wu-Tang. Thank you. All right. So anyway, that's all crazy. I'm glad that nobody got injured, but she's charged with attempted murder. So that lets us know what she was up to. Okay. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this next report, because what's interesting is that Trump's granddaughter is sitting there cracking jokes, about having to file bankruptcy and all of that. Well, Nubia says public record, but here's the thing. Celebrities should have better sense than that, than to have their homes in their names. I don't think the home is in her name, because usually celebrities have their homes under an LLC. Okay, not in their names, because they already know that the public can go and look that up. So I would hope they wouldn't have it in, I would think they wouldn't have it in their name. That's why I'm wondering, how she found out this information. I don't know. Maybe she followed somebody. Who knows? Okay, so now, as I was saying, Trump's granddaughter is sitting out here cracking jokes about filing bankruptcy while the rest of us are literally out here struggling. Gas prices are going up, okay, by the day. And here's a report that says now the biggest oil disruption in history. So let's get into it, because, this is no laughing matter for the rest of us.
Soaring. West Texas crude now hovering around $100 a barrel. You can see this chart over time. The last time it was this high was when Russia invaded Ukraine, and that height was at June of 2022. But I want you to look at the very end of this chart, an almost vertical increase over the last 2 weeks, an incredibly quick rise over a very short period of time. It could get even higher, experts say, by the end of March, maybe even $150 a barrel if travel through the Strait of Hormuz does not start flowing again. That flow of oil through that critical waterway has effectively ground to a halt. It's only a 20-mile stretch of sea between Iran and Oman, and actually only a 2-mile wide sea lane. The president shrugged off the rise in oil prices, calling it a very small price to pay for USA and world safety and peace. CNN's Matt Egan is with us now. In these prices we've seen overnight, the sharp sharp increase, more than 10% in one day, Matt. That's pretty staggering.
Yeah, it is absolutely staggering. Look, oil prices are going through the roof. And, you know, oil is a notoriously boom to bust market. But even by those standards, this is just a historic spike. Look at this. Oil prices 9 months ago, all the way on the left side of your screen. That was the last time there were tensions with Iran and a conflict. And that looks like just a tiny, tiny increase compared to what's going on now. Before the war started, U.S. oil prices were trading at about $67 a barrel. At one point overnight, they got to $119 a barrel. Now, let's look at a live look at oil prices. You can see they have pulled back from that peak just over $100 now. However, 11% increase, a $10 increase of dollar amounts. At one point this morning, U.S. oil prices were on track for their biggest one-day dollar increase in history. Now, as you mentioned, the problem is the fact that this war has disrupted the supply of oil out of the Middle East. And it's not just that the Strait of Hormuz effective closure is delaying the shipment of oil out of the region. It's the fact that oil producers there, they have nowhere to put the oil. They're literally running out of room to store it all. So they have to slash production.
Okay, so now let's go to Trump, because when he weighed in on the oil prices, he basically said it's a small price to pay. Well, that's easy for him to say. Let's get into it.
War may be hurting Americans, American consumers at the pump, but one person who's doing swimmingly well and enjoying a windfall is Russia's invading autocrat Vladimir Putin, and now the U.S. is considering lifting even more sanctions off of Russian oil as the cost of crude has surged above $100 a barrel for the first time since 2022. India refiners will now be granted a 30-day waiver to purchase Russian oil. That's according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. But President Trump says rising oil prices, quote, are a very small price to pay, adding, quote, only fools would think differently. We'll see whether American consumers consider themselves to be those fools or whether they agree with the president on this one. Let's bring in the co-anchor of CNBC's Squawk Box and New York Times columnist, Andrew Ross Sorkin. Andrew, I always remember, you know, Bill Clinton, pretty good at that politics thing. Bill Clinton was obsessed with gas prices. Like that man, he knew people drove past gas stations. They saw those signs up there. And, you know, as a kid who grew up when gas used to be 30 cents a gallon, and then, you know, the next year it was over $1 a gallon, I understand the framework of that thinking. We're experiencing an uptick now. The question is, how is the street feeling, not only about gas prices, where they're going, but where this war is going and how long they believe our economy can stay strong sustaining a war like this against Iran?
I think the straight up answer is not good. You know, gas prices are a billboard on the corner of virtually every street in America. The president's talked a lot about gas prices just in the State of the Union and how successful he thought he was in bringing down those prices. And as these prices continue to creep up, you're seeing the stock market react, in part because there's a sense that this war in the Middle East will continue and potentially could even escalate. I think there's concerns now about, you know, how long this goes on, what it means to the supply of crude. You know, in a disastrous case, if you effectively don't have a place to put all of this oil from a storage perspective, you have to start shutting down some of the efforts to extract that oil. By the way, it's very difficult to shut things down and then restart these things. So there are really knock-on effects. You talked about the implications for Russia in terms of
Okay, so now they're saying Russia can charge more for the price of oil. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. And this is my thing. Trump doesn't care about any of this. Okay, we're the ones that have to bear the brunt of it. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, Rubio says, for a high-value primary residence like a mansion or penthouse, it is generally not recommended to hold the title in a standard business LLC due to significant tax and insurance disadvantages. Well, that is what's recommended, but at the end of the day, celebrities do not care about that because they have money. And it says that if you look into it, most high-profile celebrities and affluent individuals purchase their homes through LLCs and trusts. So even though sometimes in real estate people advise against that, they do it anyway, and that's because of their privacy. And we can just go to this right here to prove my point. Okay, most high-profile celebrities and affluent individuals purchase homes through LLC, trust, or other legal entities to maintain privacy and security. The strategy keeps their personal name off public property records, shielding their address from fans, paparazzis, and potential legal liabilities. And that's why, again, I'm still wondering how this lady got her address. How did that lady find out where she lived? Because the house is clearly not in her name. No celebrity would be that careless, I'm sure. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's go to Carolyn Levitt when she was questioned about the possibility of a draft. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Let's get into it. One box says, you and your channel are addicting, spiritually, intravenously good. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay. Now, let's hear what this woman has to say, this propagandist, because that's all she is.
Wisely does not remove options off of the table. Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now. It has been, and it will continue to be. And President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table. But as commander-in-chief, there's no greater priority or responsibility to this president than, of course, protecting the American people and protecting our troops. President Trump wisely does not remove.
She needs to sit down somewhere. And here's the thing. Now, if you realize previously, Trump said something about, he was basically dismissive of the draft. Like that was a crazy idea. But we know how he flip-flops back and forth and how he just lies and says whatever comes up and it comes out. Okay? So I don't put anything past him talking about a darn draft. Please. The end of the day. I'm just over it at this point. Okay? But let's continue because let's go to this report where they say the people are, hold on. Yeah, this is CNN reporting about the missile debris in Tel Aviv. Now remember, days ago they didn't want anybody posting anything about it, or they were gonna send him to prison for 5 whole years. Please pay attention.
Still falls in central Tel Aviv, even after interceptions. One key piece behind me here that investigators are poring over, one official here telling us that it seems to perhaps be one of the warheads we've noticed that appear to split in the sky and send off separate fragments down. Now, nobody, as far as we understand, injured in this location, but it's a sign that despite the fact we've seen probably less missiles overall fired by Iran over the past days, it only takes one, even with the sophisticated air defenses here, to cause some havoc in a scene like this. But across the region, the focus perhaps now turning as it's clear Iran's missile capacities have come down on their ability to wreak havoc closer to Iranian shores with drones that are hitting around the Gulf. But the scene behind me here is still one of intense scrutiny, as I think they try and work out if this marks some kind of new development in Iranian missile technology.
Now, they say that the people in Tel Aviv, some of these people are actually out there protesting against Netanyahu and this entire war. Okay, some of his own people. Nobody really wanted this war except for him and Trump and maybe Saudi Arabia.
About 50 people or so have gathered here in Tel Aviv's Habima Square in a protest against the war here, but also against Israel's occupation of the West Bank. You can see some of the signs here they're holding behind me. The two biggest ones say resisting empire and arms embargo now. There is also a counter protest here trying to drown out those who are opposing the war. The studies since the beginning of the war 8 days ago have shown that most of the people here in Israel are in support of the war here. They've been out at least one other time since the war has begun here, trying to make that point that support for the war is not universal across Israel.
It's important to stop the war because Israel is always in a war. They think war is the solution for everything.
This war doesn't serve the real interests, neither of the Iranian people, nor of the Israeli people or any other people. It serves only the interests of the governments of Israel and the United States.
Police now warning the protesters here they have 1 minute to leave the location. Police are saying, if you don't leave in a minute, we're going to use force. Please don't make us use force here. So it looks like this will be broken.
Right. So, like I said, these people did not want a war. Now, you all know there was a shooting. Hold on, let me go to this. This was reported yesterday. There was a shooting at the U.S. Embassy in Oslo, Norway. This is a report from Times of India.
A loud explosion was heard near the embassy of the United States in Oslo, Norway. Eyewitnesses said smoke rose from the area. The blast took place at 1 a.m. local time. According to the Oslo Police Department, it was not immediately clear what caused the blast or who was involved. Oslo police, in a statement, said that they are in a dialogue with the embassy and there are no reports of any injured persons. The incident sparked fears of an attack amid the ongoing Iran conflict. However, no established link to Iran has been found yet, while tensions continue to simmer in the Middle East. Police spokesperson Michael Delameyer told public broadcaster NRK that blast occurred at the entrance to the consular section. Videos from outside the embassy shared online showed security personnel rushing to the spot. Officials in tactical gear were seen trying to control the area. One law enforcement personnel could be seen trying to look through what appeared to be the boundary of the embassy. Another appeared to try and control the traffic movement in the area. The explosion in Oslo has come at a time when U.S. missions in several Middle East countries have been targeted by Iran amid the ongoing war with the U.S. and Israel. U.S. embassies have been placed on high alert in the Middle East. However, whether the Oslo incident is linked to the conflict or not is not yet clear. As of now, the Oslo police gave no indication the incident near the U.S. embassy was connected to the Iran conflict.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Now, hold on. Laverne says, happy belated birthday. I've been much busy. Thank you, beloved. I really appreciate you. Okay, thank you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, listen to this. Netanyahu orders MAGA to obey Israel. That's the caption on this video. Let's get into it. Not ordering MAGA to obey them.
Netanyahu just said that you can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. So he's ordering you MAGA. You better obey Israel. Otherwise, he's going to cancel you out of MAGA. Yeah, MAGA loves that. They love cancel culture, listening to foreign governments and people telling them what to think. The reason why Netanyahu is doing these panic things is because for the first time ever, Israel is losing the messaging wars. So right now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tom Massey, Matt Gaetz, in full rebellion on the right. We're obviously on rebellion on the left. And so now, ironically, AIPAC and Israel and Netanyahu are bringing the right and the left together. America's saying we love Palestinians and want to protect them against this genocide. And we don't want to pay for this human catastrophe that Israel is doing right now. By the way, this shirt on shoptyt.com, all the proceeds go to.
All right, did y'all hear that? I find it all so interesting. And then meanwhile, you have Marco Rubio. What's he talking about here? Is he trying to throw hints? I don't know, paint a narrative possibly. He's saying that Iran are the main ones who take hostages. Now, why is he bringing this up? I have several questions, so let's go to it. And just pay attention to how the U.S. tries so hard to demonize Iran. At the end of the day, everything they say about Iran is true of the United States. Okay, the United States are terrorists. The United States does all sorts of nefariousness. Okay, they cannot say anything about any other country.
Because when it comes to hostage taking, there has been no worse offender in the world than the clerical regime in Tehran. They are the worst offenders in the world of terrorism, and they are the worst offenders in the world of hostage taking. Because when it comes to hostage taking.
Okay, did y'all hear that? Now, also, let me go to this video where this guy did a video basically talking about, I'm going to share my screen. This guy did a video talking about, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's go to this first. They say the body count is apocalyptic. Russian intelligence has released a bombshell report confirming that Israel has suffered catastrophic, irreversible losses in the first 72 hours of Iran's full-scale retaliation. And the damage is far worse than Netanyahu has admitted to the public. Well, we already knew that. That's why they were threatening people if they post videos or pics of Tel Aviv and people were saying it looked like Gaza, they were going to put them in prison. So with that all being said, according to the leaked Russian assessment verified by multiple intelligence sources, do you all hear this? Now, Dimona nuclear reactor. Israel has completely lost operational access to its most critical nuclear site, the heart of its undeclared nuclear arsenal. 11 top nuclear scientists killed in precision Iranian strikes on Dimona and related facilities. Six senior IDF generals eliminated in targeted assassinations and missile barrages. Do you all hear this? Sounds like a plan that they had and carried it out. And I'm talking about Iran. 198 Air Force officers wiped out, including senior pilots and command staff. 462 soldiers killed in ground operations and base attacks. 32 Mossad agents slaughtered in covert operations gone wrong. Total elite casualties in just 3 days. Over 700 high-profile personnel, a blow that could cripple Israel's military and nuclear capability for years. The images are haunting. Soldiers carrying flag-draped coffins. Netanyahu and the defense minister Gallant sitting in stunned silence as the numbers come in. Social media is in absolute panic mode. Dimona is gone. Israel just lost its nuclear insurance policy in 3 days. 700 elite deaths. This is the end of Israel's military supremacy. Russia confirming that Netanyahu is hiding. The bloodbath is insane. Iran is winning the war. Israel is collapsing faster than anyone predicted. From invincible to decimated in 72 hours. History books will remember this day as the day Israel broke. Netanyahu has remained silent on the Dimona loss, but sources say emergency war cabinet meetings are happening behind closed doors, and the country is preparing for the worst. Iran is celebrating openly. The IRGC called it divine justice. The world is watching in horror as Israel's military backbone snaps in real time. There's no longer a skirmish. This is the moment the balance of power in the Middle East shifted forever. Well, if this is all true, now I can't substantiate this because we know that the lamestream media is not going to tell you any of this. That's what they're not going to do. If it is true, they're not going to tell you any of it. Okay, so I can't substantiate it, but if that's true, that is definitely not good for them, and even more reason why they'd be talking about a nuke. Vincent Adams said Norway is in Europe, not Northeast Africa, aka Middle East. Okay. Now, with that all been said, let's go to this video where this guy posted some things about he posted some things about these soldiers. And hold on, Humans need to get rid of psychopaths. They can't be cured. Basically he posted some things and he said that he started receiving death threats. So he came back and issued an apology. And then he said there's no need for him to say such things. He doesn't know why anyone would think these things. But nonetheless, he said he was just going to post the soldiers saying it themselves. So I'm going to go to that footage. Here you have some Israelis fleeing Israel.
Everybody sitting. Yes. Why? What's going on?
Okay, you see them all getting out of Dodge. This woman here got canceled. Hold on, let's go to this clip. She got canceled for speaking up for the Palestinians.
Consider yourself anti-Semitic?
Hell no.
You do not.
I'm a Semite.
You're a Semite yourself.
Arab background.
Well, I know you're Lebanese background, right? But you're not Jewish.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, no, you say you're. I'm just trying to clarify.
They're not Semites. I mean, most of them are from Europe.
The Jews.
Yes.
Well, okay.
They're not being persecuted anywhere.
The Israelis. Okay. Why do they have to go anywhere?
The Jews.
The question was, any comments on Israel? That's what the question was. And you said, tell them to get the hell out of Palestine.
Right.
And then the rabbi who was interviewing you said, any better comments? And you said, remember, these people are occupied and it's their land, not Germany's, not Poland. So where should they go? He said. And you said,
why
go
do they
home.
have to go anywhere? They aren't being persecuted. They don't have the right to take other people's land. Under international law, occupied land should not be annexed.
But then maybe you should have said, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but maybe you should have said, well, the Israelis should stay in Israel. But you said they should go back to Poland and Germany.
Everything is distorted, but I don't care. You know,
you don't care at this point.
No, at hell, no.
Okay. Well, you got a lot of criticism for it. How did you deal with all of that criticism?
We have organized lobbyists in favor of Israel. You can't open your mouth. I can call the president of the United States anything in the book. But if you say one thing about Israel and you're off limits.
Well, that's what happened to you. I mean, the Society of Professional Journalists retired the Helen Thomas Lifetime Achievement Award. They said no individual worthy of such honor should have to face this controversy. No honoree should have to decide if the possible backlash is worth being recognized for his or her contribution to journalism. Are you offended by that?
By what?
The fact that they will not give this this award to anybody in your name?
Well, I mean, that's their decision, but I think it's stupid. It has nothing to do with my views about Israel. My achievements in journalism are a little separate.
So you have no regrets about what you said, even though
I have regrets that everybody's misinterpreted it and distorted it. And you have the Ari Fleischer and Abe Foxman distorting everything. So I certainly knew that, and I should have kept my mouth shut, probably.
But you still don't feel that it was insensitive in any way?
No.
Okay, so that's what she got for saying what she said, canceled. Now, let's go to this clip because, as I said, this guy here, it's not what you think. That's the caption. Now, listen to this.
I want to apologize for one of my latest videos that made it look like that the Israeli Defense Force are similar to Nazis. I had an Israeli colonel on my show, Colonel Moshe Ashkenazi, and people thought he resembled a Nazi, some of the things he was saying, some of the ways he was acting. And after receiving many death threats to myself, my family, and my staff, and being threatened to have the government sent after me to take away my medical license and shut down my clinic, I have reconsidered this and really want to apologize and set the record straight. So instead of having Colonel Moshe Ashkenazi back on the show, I just want to show you the Israeli Defense Force in their own words, what they say and what they believe.
I don't know what is Palestinians. I know Hamas. In Gaza, there is not civilians.
You guys kill Palestinian kids?
Yeah. Just 2 this morning. Just 2. Yesterday was a good day.
Where are you from?
I'm from Israel.
Are you an IDF soldier?
Yes, I am.
Before Israel, 1948, it was Palestine.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's called Israel. I wish IDF kill more children. And I wish the IDF will find you and kill you.
Why?
It's only Israel, no Palestine. I will do in your mother.
Wait, does he kill innocent Palestinians?
I kill every Palestinian city. Every Palestinian city, I just.
I wish there was a genocide in Gaza.
You wish there was? Did you kill Palestinians?
Unfortunately not. I'm only a driver. But if I could, I would run on every fucking Palestinian baby with my truck, man. Fuck them all, man.
Are 5-year-old Palestinian terrorists? Yes or no?
Yeah, if you throw rocks at me, yeah.
If someone throws a rock at you, they're a terrorist?
100%. 100%.
If a 5-year-old Palestinian throws a rock at you, will you kill him?
Yeah.
If someone threw this rock at you, if someone threw a rock like this at you, you're going to kill him?
Of course.
A rock. A 5-year-old Palestinian throwing a rock at you on illegally occupied land. You are there illegally. Are you in the IDF?
Yes.
Do you plan on killing kids in the future, Palestinian kids?
I want to bomb Gaza. I don't care about the kids. I don't care about the civilians. I don't care about them.
So you'll bomb them? You'll bomb the civilians? And
yes, I will bomb Gaza.
Oh, wow. Wow. There are 1 million kids in Gaza. You want them to die?
I want all Gaza die.
You want half of Gaza are children. You want them to die?
I want to bomb Gaza. I want to make it a mall.
Are you joking, or is this how you actually feel?
No, I'm dead serious.
You are very serious? You want all of Gaza to be gone?
Yes.
You want the 1 million kids in Gaza, the children, the babies, you want them to die?
All the children there will die. I don't care.
You're evil. You're disgusting. And you think this is normal. The way you're talking to me right now is that you were expecting me to agree with you because you have been taught since a young age that this is normal. The indoctrination is insane. There is a problem with you and your society. You need help.
And there you go. The record is straight. I mean, I have no idea why people would ever compare the Israeli Defense Force to Nazis. I mean, that's crazy.
Okay, you all heard that? You all heard that? And at the end of the day, listen, these are the people that no one's supposed to be able to talk about. These are the people that no one's supposed to be able to talk about. Who are they besides devils? Okay, the things they said were so wicked and nefarious. India officially confesses. I want you all to hear this because India basically came out and said they stabbed Iran in the back for Benjamin Netanyahu.
We are closely monitoring the situation in Iran. Israel is our close ally. Iranian naval ship being sunk is indeed unfortunate, but it was done in international waters. As long the Iranian ship remained in Indian waters, they remained protected. But when they crossed the international waters, as Israeli strategic allies, it was our duty to inform Israel about their exact location as a part of our newer strategic deal. So you are wrong to assume that Iranian naval ships were destroyed within Indian territory. What Israel does in international waters is their business. We can provide Israel with location or intelligence, but we had no part in Israeli and US joint torpedo attack. They did their business. It is Iran's war and India has nothing to do with it. Our focus remains on Pakistan and Israel will help us in achieving that goal. We remain grateful to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for helping us seek permission of importing Russian fuel. We are closely monitoring the situation.
Now, with that all being said, you all need to, hold on. With that all being said, since that's how they're getting down, I'm sorry, but we need to boycott them. Okay, we need to boycott them. They're in our neighborhoods with stores and shops and all that. We need to be boycotting them. Please pay attention. Okay, because that is low down and dirty. And they're siding with the devil. Okay? They're siding with the devil. Now, this next report I'm going to go to may just shock you. Then again, it may not because we know how the devils get down. Hold on just a second. They say a huge crowd of Iranians assembles in Revolution Square in Tehran to express gratitude. Hold on, let me just go to this clip. Okay, it says a huge crowd of Iranians assemble in Revolution Square in Tehran to express gratitude and love for Israel and the U.S., heralding them as liberators. Oh, it's actually to commemorate the new Iranian leader and condemn attacks by 2 foreign states. Okay, so that was clearly a joke. Now, let's go to this crowd. Look at these people out here celebrating the new leader. These same people were praising the supreme leader and grieving his death. But they want everybody to think that these people were against him, that everybody was just against him. I'm not saying that some of them weren't, but it definitely isn't what the U.S. was painting it to be. And we already know that they don't care about liberating anybody. They use that as their excuse when they want to go in and just start a war. Okay, now with that all been said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, where do you all hear this next report? I thought this was absolutely nefarious. This is what the government is doing. And this guy in the video, this is not alleged, because I looked it up, and what he said is true. Let's get into it.
Should scare the hell out of you. The Trump administration has quietly ordered U.S. airports to hand over the name of every single passenger to ICE. Not suspects, not people with warrants, everyone. The TSA is now feeding ICE passenger lists multiple times a week, and ICE is cross-checking those names against deportation databases, meaning if you fly, your name is scanned. If ICE thinks you might be deportable, the airport becomes the trap. This started in March. No public announcement, no vote, no warning. And they're already using it. A 19-year-old freshman was arrested at Boston Logan Airport and deported to Honduras. She was brought to the U.S. when she was 7. She didn't know she was deportable. Her family didn't know. She found.
Do you all hear this? This is the kind of BS they're doing. Also, Lisa Jackson, beloved, says Black American people live in Dimona. Thank you for that information. Absolutely, they do. And thank you for insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Yes, they do. And some of those people came from Chicago in the 60s. Okay, these are African Hebrew Israelites is what they call them. There's like 3,000 to 5,000 of them supposedly in that area. Okay, but now listen to what this man is saying.
Out at the airport. Another woman was arrested in Salt Lake City the exact same way. This isn't about terrorists. This isn't about violent crime. This is mass surveillance of travelers repurposed for immigration enforcement. And here's the part that should really get you. TSA was never supposed to be involved in immigration enforcement. Ever. That line just disappeared. DHS says this is about stopping undocumented people from flying unless it's out of the country. So let's be clear. They turned airports into ICE checkpoints. They turned boarding passes into screening tools for deportation, and they did it without your consent. If the government can quietly turn flight data into a deportation dragnet, ask yourself what database is next. Because once everyone's name becomes fair game, no one's privacy is safe.
DJ Big Six says, so illegals aren't making sure their paperwork is straight. DJ Big Six, where have you been? It has nothing to do with whether or not their paperwork is straight. Even when their paperwork is correct, they're still arresting these people. They're still detaining them. People that are here legally, that are citizens. It's not about people being illegal. They're arresting people who look like they were not born in this country, whether or not they have the paperwork, okay? I've reported it several times. Maybe you weren't paying attention. But they don't care about the people's paperwork. They're still detaining them. And then they may have them for days, weeks, or even months before they decide to let them go because of the paperwork that they already had in the first place. That's right, nice M10K, including Black and brown people. Okay? So it's not about their paperwork. Get that out of your head. Also, a judge has ordered, hold on, let me finish talking about this with the TSA thing first. So when I looked into it, they say absolutely this is what they have been doing, providing passenger lists, including names and photos to ICE. And they do this multiple times a week to aid in tracking individuals with deportation orders. This initiative, which began in March of 2025, as part of the expanded deportation efforts, allows ICE to identify and apprehend targeted individuals at airports. So this has been going on for a whole year under our noses. Under our noses. I want you to pay attention. They've been doing this ever since last year. Okay, so that means when I flew to New York last year for the Diddy trial, my name was on a list. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. And so it says that TSA sends 24-hour batches of passenger information, including the names, photos, and flight details. Okay, ICE compares these lists against their own database of people with final removal orders. The program has resulted in arrests at airports, with one report indicating a high percentage of flagged names leading to detention. Isn't that so low down and dirty? That is just so low down, and it's also a darn invasion of privacy. I don't like any of it. I don't need the government knowing where I'm going and when I'm going. Okay, I don't like any of this, and you all shouldn't like it either. It's clearly an invasion of privacy. We're being surveilled on a daily basis, no matter what we're doing. Reggie said you've got to have a real ID now or pay $45 on site to fly. Isn't that some bull-ish? Okay, but now let's talk about this incident at the Embassy of the United States in Oslo, Norway. Okay, it was an explosion, not confirmed as a shooting. And it happened around 1 a.m. on March the 8th. A blast occurred outside the embassy's consular entrance in Oslo. Investigators believe it was likely caused by an improvised explosive device known as an IED that was placed near the entrance. Now, the explosion caused minor structural damage and smoke, but no one was injured or killed. Okay, police are searching for a suspect. They say surveillance footage shows a hooded person carrying a backpack near the embassy shortly before the blast. Authorities released images and are asking the public for help identifying the person. People say the embassy appears to have been the target, but the motive isn't confirmed yet. Investigators are considering several possibilities, including terrorism or retaliation linked to tensions in the Middle East. Okay, but no arrests so far, and Norwegian and U.S. authorities are conducting a joint investigation. Security around diplomatic buildings in Europe has been increased. Okay, so with that all being said, that's the report. You know, they quickly want to say that it's linked to what's going on in Iran at the end of the day. So now let's talk about this man that was shot by ICE last year. They said the body cam footage has just been released. This incident happened March the 15th of 2025. Okay, let's go to the footage. They say now that the footage has come out, the body cam footage, that it does not coincide, it does not line up with what the government released in their report. And of course, that's no surprise.
Shots fired. We're at 2,300 shots fired.
Newly released body cam footage obtained by CNN shows the moment a 23-year-old driver was fatally shot by a federal immigration and customs enforcement agent in Texas last year.
Out of the vehicle now! Out of the vehicle now!
The video, which had not been previously reported, appears to contradict claims by the Department of Homeland Security that the driver, Ruben Ray Martinez, intentionally rammed an ICE agent with his car and that the agent fired, quote, defensive shots. Martinez's death was reported by local media outlets at the time, but authorities did not disclose that the shooting involved a team from HSI. Joshua Orta, the passenger in the car, told lawyers for Martinez's family that an agent walked up to their car, slapped the hood, and, quote, seemed to be trying to get in front of the car. According to a draft affidavit cited by the AP, Orta said Martinez did not hit anyone. Orta said the car was crawling and that the federal agent fired into the driver's side window without giving any warning, commands, or opportunity to comply. But Orta's statement wasn't yet signed and never will be. He died in a traffic accident in February. Shortly after his death, the Texas Rangers confirmed they were investigating Martinez's shooting, but a grand jury refused to hand down an indictment in the case days later. The March 15th shooting was the earliest known of at least 6 deadly shootings by federal officers in the immigration crackdown launched during President Donald Trump's.
Don't you all find it interesting that the only witness who was actually in the vehicle with the victim turned up dead, was in a car accident, and died months later? Doesn't that sound just a little bit suspicious? perhaps? Doesn't that sound just a little too convenient? Okay, now let's go to this report about a homemade explosive hurled near the New York City mayor's home. Here we go. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you.
This is the moment police say a man lit and threw a device containing nuts, bolts, and a hobby fuse during a heated confrontation in New York City.
Witnesses reported seeing flames and smoke as it traveled through the air.
Pardon January 6 rioter Jake Lang organized a protest Saturday outside the home of the city's first Muslim mayor, Zohran Mamdani. The right-wing provocateur and U.S. Senate candidate was opposing what he called the Islamic takeover of New York City. Police say that the demonstration was met with a larger counter-protest, and two sides at times clashed. The NYPD says a protester associated with Lang's group at one point pepper sprayed the counter-protesters. New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said one of the counter-protesters threw a flaming object into the street, which extinguished as it landed. Then he retrieved a second device from another person, lighting it and dropping it in the street as people ran. A total of 6 people were arrested, and multiple law enforcement sources tell CNN 2 of the people that were arrested in relation to those devices told police officials that they had been inspired by ISIS.
As of now, there is no indication that this is related to the ongoing hostilities in Iran.
The NYPD commissioner said a preliminary investigation found the devices were built with the intent of exploding and causing serious injury. The NYPD is working with the FBI as well as the Joint Terrorism Task Force on the investigation. A spokesperson for New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani said both the mayor and the First Lady, Rama Dawaji, were both safe.
Absolutely nefarious. Also, and let me just tell you all this. The young man who lost his life to ICE, his mother his mother voted for Trump. And she supposedly doesn't blame Trump for his death. Some of these people have got to be brainwashed. Okay? Got to be brainwashed. "25 years old. Well, the passenger was 25. He was 23. And I just find it very suspicious that they said he died in an unrelated car crash. Okay, make it all make sense. Now he wrote up everything that happened and wrote everything in a statement, but didn't sign the statement. And so now I guess they can't use anything that he said because it wasn't signed, and now he's passed away. This is all crazy. Okay, absolutely crazy. You know, and these people voted for Trump. They're a lot of them are the main ones having these getting caught up in these issues with ICE. Seems like. Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, I'm about to be out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to come back later because we've got to talk about the Epstein files. We got to talk about that later. Before we go, hold on. Let me play a couple of more clips. This is a woman going off about the people that are here for the war against Iran.
I will never forgive those of y'all that were begging for bombs in Iran. Will never forgive those of you that danced in the face of bombs. I will never forgive those of you that went on national TV and mass media and said that the elementary school that murdered 160 plus little elementary school kids was an Iranian misfire, and you reported it completely wrong, and you ran propaganda for American wars. I will never forgive those of y'all that are watching our people inhale toxic smoke that is probably going to make them die from cancer in the next 5 to 10 years. I will never forgive those of you that are watching this and you're still advocating for bombs. I don't care what situation people are in, bombs are never the answer, ever. And you guys are going to learn this the hard way. Every single one of you is going to.
She's clearly upset. Okay, let's go to this video. I think this lady's going in on Marco Rubio with his silly self.
Said the U.S. attacked Iran proactively in a defensive way because we knew that Israel would attack Iran and then Iran would retaliate. So in order to preempt that retaliation, we attacked Iran first. I hope this is making sense to you. Confirming that at least for the Trump administration, Israel is in charge of U.S.-Israel foreign policy rather than the United States. It is the tail wagging the dog. Of course, anyone with eyes already knew that this was the case, but it has been interesting watching the American domestic political system try to grapple with this obvious explanation. Within hours, Rubio and the whole Trump machinery were forced to backpedal and try and act like Israel actually isn't the reason that we're in this conflict, but they don't have another more coherent explanation, so everything they say sounds stupid. But it has been funny watching the Democrats have to grapple with this admission, because no one in Washington is surprised that Israel is in the driver's seat here. It has been true for at least since Trump won and throughout Biden. But you've got some Democrats realizing that it's electorally beneficial and good politically to kind of like triangulate against Israel or sort of Israel critical. And so they're being like, what? We're letting Israel dictate our foreign policy? That's crazy. But even funnier than that are the faction of Democrats and Dem-aligned people who are still super committed to politically defending Israel. And so they have decided to say that Marco Rubio and the Trump administration lied when they said that Israel dragged the US into this war. They're actually saying that it is wrong and perhaps even anti-Semitic to believe the US Secretary of State about US foreign policy. Super obvious that US domestic politics are not prepared for a reality in which the Mearsheimer-Walt theory about the Israel lobby is just openly and blatantly acknowledged to be true.
Yeah, they definitely tried to backpedal. Okay, so let's go to the clip of Marco Rubio.
Okay, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran and that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked
Okay.
a question.
No, were you the one that, because somebody asked me a question yesterday, did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you were asking me that, that follow-up. And I said, no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program, that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation, not the question of the intent. Once the president made a decision that negotiations were not going to work, that they were playing us on the negotiations, and that this was a threat that was untenable, the decision was...
He's such a lying rattlesnake, sitting there saying they were playing them on the negotiations. No, they weren't. They were ready to negotiate, and then Trump decided to go ahead and bomb them. That's what he did. Also, Measurement says, thanks, Queen, out to celebrate my born day like we Pisces do. Happy birthday, beloved. I hope you have a wonderful time. Okay, peace, love, and blessings. But he's sitting up here lying through his teeth.
Was made to strike them. That's what I said yesterday, and you guys need to play it. If you're going to play these statements, you need to play the whole statement, not clip it to reach a narrative that you want to do, all right?
Does Congress have to weigh in? Is the president defending and does Congress have to weigh in?
Now, this is what he said the day before.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded, because the Department of War assessed that if we did that, if we waited for them to hit us first after they were attacked, and by someone else, Israel attacked them, they hit us first, and we waited for them to hit us, we would suffer more casualties and more deaths. We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting higher damage. Had we not done so, there would have been hearings on Capitol Hill about how we knew that this was going to happen, and we didn't act preemptively to prevent more casualties and more loss of life.
He just admitted to it. He's such an idiot. He literally just admitted to it, okay? He said that Israel was going to hit them. They were going to be attacked. And for them to prevent them from striking them first, they knew they had to do it. But how did he know that they were going to strike them next? Why would he even think that? Because wouldn't it seem that if they were hit by Israel, that's who they would strike back at in retaliation? Okay, again, why did the U.S. need to be involved? Roddy says Iran was not coming after the U.S., so he flat out is lying. Yes, of course he's lying. Of course he is. Okay? Of course he is. Nice 10MK says, again, Rubio is only a well-spoken, better-looking Trump. That's all. Exactly. He spews the same lies and BS.
The U.S. was forced to strike because of an impending Israeli action? No, well, I mean, two things I would say. Number one is, no matter what, ultimately, this operation needed to happen. That's the question of why now. But this operation needed to happen because Iran, in about a year or a year and a half, would cross the line of immunity, meaning they would have so many short-range missiles, so many drones, that no one could do anything about it because they could hold.
Now, how could he possibly know this? Is he prophetic? Is he a psychic, an oracle, perhaps? Clairvoyant? How would he know any of this in about a year or so? He said they would have all of these capabilities. How would he possibly know that?
The whole world hostage. Look at the damage they're doing now. And this is a weakened Iran. Imagine a year from now. So that had to happen. Obviously, we were aware of Israeli intentions and understood what that would mean for us, and we had to be prepared to act as a result of it. But this had to happen no matter what.
I mean, the lies just keep coming at the end of the day. Make it all make sense. But now I'm going to go to a throwback where he was lying on Iran yet again. Okay, Alice says, Queen, there should be something in your P.O. box today. Okay, thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Absolutely crazy.
I want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what was going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capability.
Mind you, this is from September of 2015. Okay?
It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships. Continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And it'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal. And they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history, or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit, and perhaps we ourselves will have to share it. And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead. And we are making a terrible mistake. But here's the good news. Iran may have a supreme leader, but America does not. In this nation, we have a republic. And soon we will have new leaders, perhaps in this chamber.
Okay, basically he was just telling all those lies because everything he said, none of it happened. Okay, none of it happened. Not a bit of it. But hold on. I want you all to pay attention to how someone who voted for Trump went to Ireland and the people didn't even want to serve them in a bar. MAGA is not welcomed, okay, in certain countries. Please pay attention.
You guys seen that woman who went to Ireland, went into a bar, and the bartender said, "Hey, are you American?" And they said, "Yeah." And he said, Who'd you vote for? Well, she was really caught off guard, really offended by that question because she says, quote, it is a sensitive subject. You know what's not sensitive? You know what's not a sensitive subject? Being able to say that you voted for Kamala Harris. I've never had a problem saying that. I've not felt embarrassed. I've not felt the need to hem or haw. I've not felt the need to change my answer in any way other than I didn't vote for that son of a bitch. I voted for Kamala Harris. I didn't vote for a fat ass orange turd piece of shit. It's real easy to say that. And she said, oh, and the people on the bar in the bar were, making nasty comments about Trump because the world news was on, and they just felt so uncomfortable. Well, guess what, honey? Nobody likes Trump in this world except people like you who want to support a rapist child PDF. That's who wants to support Donald Trump. And if you want to carry that support with you, then wear it like a badge of honor, because pretty soon it's going to be a scarlet A, and you're going to be absolutely shamed, not just in Ireland, not just in Europe, but in America as well. As soon as this whole thing topples, as soon as he is dead and gone from this country, you are going to be part of a shameful mass that we will never, ever forget. So hats off. Hats off to that bartender for calling you out. I wouldn't want to serve you, and I'd want to know who you voted for as well. So if it's so sensitive, that tells me you're embarrassed, and I need you to own that, because one day you will have to own that and bear that cross. And I hope it is the heaviest, worst thing you have ever had to carry.
Okay, no lies detected, honey. I absolutely love that for her. Okay, they're not welcome. Please pay attention. Now let's go to this guy that says he has Trump derangement syndrome. I think I have it too. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, they're getting heckled all over the world, honey. People don't have any respect for the United States or Trump.
I speak for a lot of fucking people. You hear me, you fat asshole? This is what we believe. You're right. I got Trump derangement syndrome. I hate the motherfucker. And you know what? I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get better. I want to get worse. I want to hate him more. I pray to God in heaven, God reign the righteous reign of Trump derangement syndrome. Pray for me, Lord. I'm your vessel on this earth. Pray for the people that listen to this. We want more. We want to hate the son of a bitch so much that we can't see straight. And oh my God, James, you can't give him credit for getting rid of the penny? Let me tell it to you straight. Oh, you go fucking faint. It's like saying Mussolini made the trains run on time. So I'm supposed to be here. This guy's been convicted of 34 felonies. Is it by anybody's estimation? Is compliant to Putin and dictators. He's invading people with an authorization. He's got the most incompetent fucking buffoons. So I'm supposed to give him credit for firing Kristi Noem when he actually hired Kristi Noem. Okay. And he hired Pam Bondi. What's this tin horn drugstore cowboy we got for Secretary of War? This asshole? Don't even get me started. What about an illustrious labor secretary? I can't forget toilet seat Bobby Kennedy. I mean,
He went in, okay? He went in. So with that all being said, DJ Big Six said he voted for Trump in 2016. Is not ashamed to admit it. The fix is in. The game is rigged either way. Here's the thing. It was obvious to me that you voted for Trump. I think you voted for him the last time too, not just in 2016. I think you voted for Trump both times. That's why you're always in her caping for Trump and MAGA. Okay, I peeped that a long time ago, honey. All right, that's why me and you be into it. Please pay attention. At the end of the day, that's why you're going in on that man who just said what he said about Trump, talking about shut the hell up, Skeletor. No, Orange Cheeto man is Skeletor. Stop caping for Trump. Okay, you voted for him both times, sir. That's what you did. Okay, tell the truth and shame the devil. Okay, and just like when that lady was getting dragged in Ireland You gave her some advice. You said she should have told them none of their business. That further let me know, and everybody else who was paying attention, that you voted for Trump. Because only somebody who voted for Trump would give that advice to somebody else who voted for Trump. Tell them none of your business. Honey, if you didn't vote for him, you could boldly say who you voted for, whether it was their business or not. All right? Sit down somewhere. All right? Have several seats. All right? You didn't have to tell us, honey. We already knew. We already figured it out. Now, with that all being said, listen, I'm about to be up out of here. I'm going to come back later on to talk about Epstein and what I found out. There doesn't seem to be a whole bunch of information in these new Epstein files. Okay, I think they're playing with us, just trying to keep us distracted. There's not a lot of information in there, but I did come across a few things that I thought were interesting. Oh, but before I leave, let me just say, the veteran Brian McGinnis, the one whose arm was broken or his hand, there's a video of him. He's home safe, and he came out and spoke. He's free from jail for now. Here he is.
Took an oath to defend this country from enemies, foreign and domestic, and we're facing domestic enemies right now. Our leaders are in cahoots with Israel, and they're leading America into unprovoked wars, and that's not right. And we got to stand up against it. The American citizens have to say no to our government's choices, and we don't want war. So that's why we're speaking up. And free Palestine, and Palestine is our strength. The Palestinians are suffering far worse than any of this. Right. So it gives us unending strength. So here we are.
Free Palestine.
All right, I'm glad to see he's doing good. Because I was wondering what they had done with him. Okay, DJ Big Six says demon rats ain't done Nathan. Well, I tell you what they haven't done. They haven't started a war. Okay, that's what they haven't done. Okay, let's not deflect and gaslight and start shouting on the Democrats to evade the conversation about you voting for Trump. Okay, and I noticed that you didn't correct me or didn't dispute the fact that I said you voted for him twice. Yeah, because you know you did, DJ Big Six, okay? Sitting all up in here being a whole MAGA. Hey, everybody, put the hammers in the chat. Put the hammers in the chat and the turtles for DJ Big Six. Let's give it to him, guys. Go in on him. Let's get those hammers and turtles in the chat for DJ Big Six. I'm serious. Go ahead. Go in on him. Sitting up in here amongst us MAGA the whole time. I knew there was a reason me and him was beefing every other day. Okay, I knew there was a reason. All right, let him have it. Let him have it. Little traitor. We knew what you were up to. I knew it the whole time. That's why I kept roasting you every now and again. Okay? You didn't have me fooled, buddy. Anybody that was saying the stuff you were saying clearly is MAGA. So anyway, Mally C said, Queen, they said Rihanna doesn't live in a gated community. I saw a video. She was just outside her house talking with fans. Well, yeah, I had surmised that, beloved. Thank you for that information. And thank you for being a member for 12 months, beloved. I appreciate you. I figured she didn't live in a gated community when they said the woman was parked across the street with that AR-15 and fired 10 rounds, and they were bullet shots in her door. I kind of had figured that. But I still would like to know how she found her address, how she knew where she lived. Maybe that'll come out later in the wash. Okay, thank y'all for going in on DJ Big Six. DJ Big Six, now when you come back for the next broadcast, it would behoove you, okay, to not be in here caping for your MAGA cult. Okay, sitting there now talking about game over. Talking about an inside job. Sit down somewhere. Okay, so anyway, you all, we found out who the mole is. Okay, we found out who the mole is, y'all. That all being said, listen, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this day. Each one teach one. That's how we're going to thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. Hold on. Hold on. Let me read this comment. I said, Queen, I posted the video that Iran said they had on Trump, Bill Gates and Elon Musk with some really young people on the Telegram channel. Oh, okay. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. All right, so until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Now, that next live is probably going to be around 9 or 9:30, between 9 and 9:30. Okay, it's going to be a little later than usual. All right, so anyway, love you all to life. Talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got